Change this over to this.
The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now.
To Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10 on TrashTalkingRadio.com. And remember this: when the Bible tells you, it's got to be true. And when it's on the internet, it's got to be real. It's Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10. I am the Top Pop, the King of Swing, the International Rock Star, way above par, the host of the most, Mr. Tuesday Night, the Vital Idol, Classy Mike Trash, and thank you very much.
Looks like we are here for music playing and everything. A little late, but hey, you know, better late than never at all. So, wow, what a week it's been. I had my show this weekend and went pretty well. We didn't make any real big money, but we actually didn't lose money this time. That's a good thing. What do you think? How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing fine, Mike. I had a busy weekend myself.
Yeah?
Car shopping.
Car shopping? What kind of car are you looking for?
We got a Subaru Forester.
Subarus are good cars.
They are good cars. I had a Lemon. That's what I had before. And all the lights on my dashboard came on simultaneously last Tuesday.
Aliens.
And the prognosis was $4,500
Ooh,
to fix it.
that's a lot of money.
And that's on top of the $9,500 to fix the engine.
Okay.
So that means to get a new car.
Yes. I think it
So
means
I had
that.
a Lemon, and I got a new car. We were going to lease, but we decided not to because I couldn't keep to the mileage.
I understand that. I totally get that. Because that's the problem I had was the first lease that I had, I went over my lease. The second lease, I'm not going to go over the lease, but I'm going to be really close. And I won't lease a car again. Next time I'm going to buy it because they won't let me buy out the lease. A lot of places you can buy out. My first car, I could have bought the lease out. Then they changed the rules and said, no, you can't buy it. It's like, well, I want that car. I don't want to give that car up. That's very good for me. But they're not going to let me buy it, so I'm not
So
going
I told your story to 3 different car dealers, Honda, Toyota, and Subaru.
Yeah.
They couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, neither can I. I don't like the idea that I can't buy my car because I like that car a lot. But it's okay. I'm going to buy the next car, and the next car is going to be better. It's going to have better technology. It's going to have more range. I don't know what I'm going to get yet, but I know it's going to have more range, and I know that it's going to make me happy. So I'm just going to buy it and be done with it. They're going to have some. I mean, I look at Trump for. I'm thanking Trump for making, or maybe thanking Elon for taking that Doge job because my stock plummeted so bad that he's going to make all kinds of deals to make us buy another one. So, it is what it is, and I'm going to deal with it. And
It's always had the silver lining.
yes, it does. It kind of makes me mad though because I put a lot of money into that car, and I hate to get rid of it. But in the same sense, I want current technology. So, and they're going to have a lot of deals going because right around the time I'm going to buy is going to be when I got to make my decisions and stuff like that. And I think there's going to be a lot of good deals around that. So I guess I'll start this out with my my show this weekend in Philadelphia. We had our debut show in this new market, and it went fairly well. I had one really bad thing. I have one bad thing to talk about, but it didn't do quite as well as the other place did. No, it didn't do anywhere near what that other place did because we sold out that other building. And for this building, for us to sell out this building, it doesn't take that much because it wasn't as big of a building. So even though we did really well for our first time there, we didn't do what we should have done or what we could have done and what we would have done at the other building. So, you live and you learn, and the idea is to go out there and do the best show you can do. I guess I'll complain about the one guy rather than I'll show you something really cool then. But the one bad thing was we had a guy that was invited to our show. His name was Tommy Cairo, is Tommy Cairo. He was a big, I'm not going to say he was a big ECW guy. He was an ECW guy. He was an ECW guy that was there various times. He was there right before they hit it big, and he was there a little bit after they hit it big. And he was at our show, and he was a friend of mine, until today. So I officially break our friendship off because he put right after the show, he put a post, and the post read, it was something like the owners of the APP didn't even acknowledge that he was there, and didn't even, Tony and I both talked to him saying, we're glad you're here and all that stuff. He didn't acknowledge that we acknowledged him. and he started he wanted to make a post, a really nasty post about us. And I thought, well, that's not very cool. I mean, it's not like he's Hulk Hogan. It's not like he could bring, and if those were the people that he brought in, which they weren't, because nobody knew very few people knew who he was. He shouldn't be like blasting us like that. And to blast us on, he didn't realize the site, the page, the Facebook page he wanted to blast us on is our page. So I didn't approve his post. I thought it was kind of really uncool that he would actually try to diss us on on our own show, to diss us as if he was somebody really important. And it's not that I don't want to. I hate the idea that I'm even speaking about this, so I'm not going to speak about it too much. But so here's the story. We get there, and there was no tables for me. And then I seeked out a table for us to sell our gimmick stuff. Now, I found this table, and I wanted to put our gimmick stuff on the table. Well, Tommy asked, is that my table? I said, no, but I'll share the table with you. Because, I'm okay. I'm okay doing that. He took the whole table. he made sure that that Christine couldn't sell our stuff at our table. So I just spent, he got to sell his stuff. He got to sell his, and he could have done it on half a table because he didn't have that many things. He had a couple pictures of himself, but he took the whole table, and that kind of irritated me because that's how it started. But I thought I'd let him go with that. It's okay. But then when I saw that he wanted to try to diss us, that was uncool. That was just really, really, really uncool. He would go into our own show, say nobody paid attention to him. Wow, as far as I'm concerned, we already did pay attention to you by letting you sit there and sell your gimmicks. Because it could have been my gimmicks that were selling, but instead it was his gimmicks. So I don't know. It kind of irritated me that he decided that was I don't know. People are just ungrateful, I used to admire him, but now I realize that I'm not going to admire him anymore. But anyway, so the other thing I want to show you, which I think you'll get a kick out of, is what I did. I was a good guy. I actually did a good thing. You're not going to believe that. That's hard for you to believe. But here's me, and this guy here is mentally challenged, and he won his match against Amadeus, which is a nice win for him because Amadeus is my partner for one. And we haven't seen eye to eye recently. But here's the video of what happened after the match. Amadeus got counted out. If you didn't catch that, Amadeus,
He put you down.
Amadeus low blowed me. So here we are. We're celebrating our win, and Amadeus is coming up behind me. He's on his knees, and he low blows me, and that put me on the floor. Wait a minute. Hold on. Somehow that skipped ahead. Okay. Try this again. So this, when I tried to stop it, that's when it goes through. Okay. So this is Amadeus. So if you just watch that. Would you ask?
Are you hurting where I think you're hurting?
Yes. He crotched me. It's a poor sportsman thing to do, you know? It was sad, but we still won. We got the W. So that's the important thing. Oh, pro wrestling.
So you all nice and recovered now?
Yeah, I had a couple days to catch up with or to feel better. So that was the first time in a long time that I've had that happen. But then that was only the second match I've had in. No, I guess I had 3 matches last year. Well, you know, Amadeus and I seem to have this thing going. I mean, first he hits me with my belt. That was about a year ago. Then I came back and I clotheslined him. And now he hit the family jewels. Who knows what's next? So, but we still won. Got the W. That's all that matters. So that's the important thing. Did I put I put my action figure up last week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't want to do that again. I did make one for 2 of my guys. They're kind of cool. They're my guys were in the band guys. I made one for the who did I make it for? One of the guitarists and for the drummer, and they came out pretty good. I'm trying to come up with something really unique to put in our promo, and I think that stuff's going to be cool. I don't have them on my page, or I'd show you, but kind of was fun. I don't think it's on here. Hold on, let me look here. Just want to be sure. Nope. Yeah, I was thinking I might have, but I didn't. I did do one for Rich. That was kind of neat. Here's one I did for Rich, if it comes up. There he is.
There he is.
That's Rich. Now he's my partner in the guitar thing. So that was one of them. But you know, he doesn't have blonde hair, so that didn't work out. I did do it again with him having his regular hair, but his hair is now kind of gray. So I guess I could get away with gray, but it was fun. So that was something else. Anyway, all right. What do we got? YouTube. YouTube turns 20 now. Do you believe that? 20 years old.
20 years.
20 years. They thought it would never catch on. Jeez. Yeah, it says
That's
here.
what my grandson wants to watch.
Yeah, well, I watch it a lot of times because I can do, like, I look for longer videos when I'm working on stuff, and I just need something for background noise. And when I want, like I need 10 minutes to kill, I'll find something with 10 minutes or something, you know. It's kind of fun, and you can watch videos on just about everything. You know, it's an interesting thing. And you know, the guys that made YouTube, it's kind of funny, the history of YouTube. YouTube was bought in 2006. How much do you think they paid for it?
Couple million.
$1.65 billion.
Wow. 1.65 billion.
Yeah. So think about this. If you created YouTube in 2005, you probably didn't have a lot of investment into it. You probably had some money, but not, you know. But a year later, to sell it for $1.65 billion, that's what you call profit. $1.65 billion. I can't even imagine. Why did it not? Why this video didn't end? Okay, we're still on the one page. Okay, so it's still there. That's weird. Okay. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of cool that it did that well. I would love to have an investment where a year later, it says here has grown from simple video sharing site into a media powerhouse influencing culture and entertainment with more than 20 billion videos uploaded. YouTube now leads America's TV viewing time, surpassing networks like Paramount, Fox, and Disney. Last year, YouTube was the second largest media by revenue. They made $54.2 billion behind Disney, and is expected to take the top spot this year. YouTube has propelled the careers of people like Justin Bieber, popularized trends like ASMR and unboxing videos, broke viewership records with music videos like Size and Gangnam Style, the first to reach 1 billion and 2 billion views. Louis Fonsi's Despacito, I don't know what it is. It's the first hit every billion. The first to hit every billion view milestone from 3 billion to 8 billion. Says see the first 100 viewed videos here. So I didn't look at that yet. And it's going to come up sometime today, hopefully. Come on. It also includes videos from the Uncle Sam Band and lots of fun stuff. Okay, here we go. It says the most viewed videos of all time. Baby Shark Dance. There's that Louis Fonsi one. Then Wheels on the Bus. The Bath Song. Looks like a lot of kids stuff. Johnny Johnny Yes Papa. Wiz Khalifa. Ed Sheeran. Phonics Song with 2 words. I mean, I've never watched any of these, but they're the most viewed videos of all time. Wow, I must be really out of it because I haven't watched any of these. That's bizarre. I would be willing to bet you probably haven't watched any of them either.
The amount of time on YouTube, you can count negative numbers.
Yeah, I get it. I just think it's it's an interesting.
I do use it. I have a couple scientists I follow. I have a couple YouTubers that I follow. I'm on. I was joking. I'm not on it much, but I am.
You know, I got
A couple
into
pastors I follow.
YouTube because of various reasons, but one of the things that I actually subscribe to YouTube so that I get no more commercials. So when I listen to music while I'm driving, that's just as good, if not better, than Sirius XM. You know, you can get that constant music with no interruption.
You create a playlist?
Oh yeah, I create all kinds. I do playlists for the band so that I can do our set in order and listen to it and practice to it. I do 2 versions. I do a karaoke version and I do the live, the music version, the band version, so that I can hear how it's supposed to sound. Then I listen to it and I can go to the karaoke version and try to emulate their version. So I find that YouTube music is really actually pretty interesting to me.
Mike, when you want to relax, what do you listen to? What's your go-to?
Boy, I don't. Well, right.
Mine is Christian music, but outside of that, it's blues rock.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's recently been a lot of Deep Purple. Mostly because I used to do Deep Purple 40 years ago. And I got back into doing Deep Purple because I started talking the band into doing some of their songs. Like we practiced Highway Star this weekend, and we actually practiced. We're going to do Perfect Strangers, and we even may do Knocking at Your Back Door. And that, to me, is exciting because I love singing that stuff. It's kind of cool because I think they're starting to realize that we'll do really well if you listen to me. Because I know my voice. I know what I can sing. And we don't have to pretend, well, can you do this song? Well, I've done everything they wanted me to do, except one song I can't do that I thought I could was Stoned in Love by Journey. I was pretty sure I could do it, and when we got to doing it, I just couldn't hit the highest notes. And but the ones we're doing Mississippi Queen. That's not by them, but we're doing a lot of really good stuff now. I mean, I started hanging out with the one guitarist, and we started talking about music and stuff. And I said, I really want to do some of these songs. And so he learned it. And then we went to practice, and he started playing them. So I didn't have to suggest it this time because the guitarist was playing it. And so then the other guitarist who knows every song under the sun, this guy, he's a catalog of songs. So we started doing it, and this weekend we did Highway Star, and it was really good. It really sounded good. So I think that if we end up doing some more I'd like to do more Deep Purple. I want to do stuff off I'd like to do stuff off the album Perfect Strangers because it was just such a good album. But I don't mind doing some stuff off of their earlier stuff too because they had some really great albums. Woman from Tokyo, they just had really good songs. So we'll see what they agree to, but I'm real happy with what we're doing now. We're doing some really cool stuff. And it looks like they were going to drop the Crocus song, which I'm kind of sad about in a way. But we're not dropping it because I can't sing it, and that's a really high song. We're dropping it because the guitarists are having a hard time with the song. So I'm happy that it's not me. I'm happy that it's someone else that's the reason for it, because I'm trying my best to keep up with them guys because they're really good. They're good, excellent musicians, and they're looking at doing some Queen stuff. So I'm looking forward to doing some of that too, because that taxes me, but it challenges me, and I like playing. I like having that challenge, makes me feel like I've succeeded at something. But anyway, all right, back to YouTube. So that YouTube to me is I'm happy that they survived. It's funny because it went from being one thing to another. I mean, originally you couldn't do half the stuff you can do now. It's come a long way. Guess we'll do the birthdays now. We got some good birthdays. First one, John Cena.
37.
No, you are way off. 48.
He is 48.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's why he's retiring. He doesn't want to keep his body up all the time. I mean, you figure you got to keep your body toned and stuff, and it gets harder to do as you get closer to 50. I knew I felt that way. So anyway, he's 48. I don't know if you know Dev Patel or not, but here's what Dev Patel looks like. He's been in a lot of pretty cool movies. He actually wrote a lot of them too, and he's 35. I figure you probably don't know who he is. Michael Moore wrote a lot of controversial movies. How much? What?
He says a lot of controversial things.
Yes, he does.
He's a very opinionated man.
Yes, he is. I've liked some of his
In
movies.
some way, I respect that.
Yeah, I respect him because he doesn't do big budget movies too, and he tries to make a difference. So I respect that because he pushes the envelope sometimes. So
I gotta say, 75.
you're within the 5 points. You get a point. That's 71. John Oliver, you know who he is?
Show me a picture.
There he is. He has a late night show.
No, I don't know.
He's 48. George Lopez, comedian.
He's got to be 57.
He is, believe it or not, 64. Actually, he actually shows it too. I mean, if you see an updated
Yeah, he's
picture.
looking old.
He's looking. He's definitely. But he was a guy that actually paved some paths for people of
Hispanic.
Yeah, that's the word. He's paved a lot, and he's a stand-up comedian. Had a couple shows. You know, he's kind of.
This is how I know him. The third picture over is how I know him.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't look like that anymore.
That was a while ago. But I'm just saying that's how I know him from the sitcom.
He's a good guy. I like him a lot. But his age is catching up with him. Here's one for you. Lee Majors.
Well, he's been around forever.
When we were in the 70s, we were watching him.
He's got to be 80-something.
He was, I remember him, oh man, I used to love watching Steve Austin. You know,
Yes.
the real Steve Austin, you know. My favorite Steve Austin or $1 Million Man was the one with Andre the Giant. He was Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Anyway, what'd you say he was?
He's got to be in his 80s.
He does. He does have to be in his 80s. 80 what?
86.
There you go. You got it right on the number. Right on the number. Okay. How about this one? Every one of us guys, love this person that I'm going to bring up next. Let me close some of these windows here. Valerie Bertinelli.
Valerie Bertinelli.
And I'll tell you
I
what.
read something about her.
I'll tell you what. She's still pretty hot. Let me bring her picture up.
She was my dream girl for a long time.
Yours and mine too.
And half the country of men.
Yes. Any red-blooded American would love her. There she is. Let's see what she looks like today. Those are all old pictures. There's Eddie pictures. Well, this has got to be a current picture here. Actually, she looks pretty good. She looks real good. Because that's got to be a relatively current picture, because that has Wolfgang. I don't know who.
She's got to be. She's pretty. She's really pretty.
She is. She's my fantasy girl. But anyway.
I would say 60, 61.
65.
65. She looks great for 65.
And Eddie would have been around 69, I think, about now, because he died at 66. That was such a shame. The world lost a great guitarist. But when you smoke like that, you're going to die of cancer, you know? Here's another one. Joyce DeWitt. Three's Company.
Which one?
The dark-haired.
Her. Okay,
She looks like this today, I believe.
yes.
And actually, she actually doesn't look bad for her age.
She wears her hair well.
Yes.
She's got to be 62.
She is 76.
Wow.
76. She aged well.
Yes.
I loved her, too. I used to love her more than the other girls that were on that.
Me too, Mike. Me too.
I
I
think-
thought she was cuter.
And I thought because she was her character was intelligent. And I always liked women that could think. You know? I didn't like the bubble-headed blonde. I mean, I liked the bubble-headed blonde, but I wouldn't want to be with a bubble-headed blonde. Because that's just too much. You know? I want a girl that can think for herself. That's why I got Christine. I got a girl that can think for herself. That'll get me points, by the way.
Daddy's not here, or I'd say something too.
Well, say it anyway. You could say, look what I said.
She is a woman of her own mind.
I'll tell you what I know of Patty. I've only met her a couple times. I think she's perfect for you. I think she is the yang to your yin.
She is, Mike. It's exactly what she is.
And that's what Christine is to me. She's supportive, but yet she will tell me when I'm doing something that she thinks is wrong. And it's not very often because, I don't ever do anything wrong. I love that woman. I never thought I'd find someone who would be able to tolerate me like she does. But she does a good job of it. All right, so that's it for that. Now we also have, I got a couple more, and I know you know some of these. Al Pacino.
Al's got to be inside.
Here is his pictures. Let's get a current picture of him. There you go.
How old, Michael? I think he's in 90.
He's 85.
Off by 5.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, that guy, man, talk about a guy who's had an interesting career. I read about where he was in the one gangster movie he was in. What was that? That was called Scarface. They kept trying to get him replaced. Not the director fought to keep him, or was it the director? I think the director fought to keep him, and they really wanted to replace him. They really did not like him at all, and he turned out to be a great Scarface. So that's a great story.
Did you ever watch The Devil's Advocate?
Yes.
I thought he was superb in that movie.
I have a friend who knows him, and she says he's a cool guy. I'd love to meet him. He's one of those guys that I think would be awesome to talk to. Because he didn't, back when he was that young, he didn't have the most experience. And he's one of those guys that is now a legend in what he does. So it's awesome.
If you want to know what Satan is really like, you can get a real good picture of him in The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, you can. All right, next one. I don't know. I hope you know her. Renee Zellweger. She did a lot of movies in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, I know her.
Okay. she's still out there doing stuff, but nothing really big. She's doing smaller movies. I saw a movie of hers that was really cool. It was a true story about a woman who decided she had all kinds of addictions, and she decided that she was going to break those addictions, and she actually walked the Blue Mountain Trail, or whatever it is. It runs the Appalachian Trail. Yeah, she actually walked it alone, and she ran into some seedy characters. It's a true story. It's not her, not her true story, but it's a true story about a woman who did that. Wish I could remember the name of that movie, but it was really good. She still looks good, though.
She's got to be 51.
You're really close. She's 56. Jillian Bell. I don't know if you're going to know her or not, but she started out as a comedian, and she's been in a lot of movies. She's been on Impractical Jokers. She's been in, I think she was in Bill and Ted's Adventure. She's a sarcastic woman, and she just plays that role so well. But she's also pretty. She's pretty.
Boy, I have no idea.
You don't? Did you ever see anything she did?
No.
Okay. Well, she's really. I like her because she's one of those women that speaks her mind, and for the most part, a lot of women I don't want to speak their mind because it scares me what they think. But she's 41.
40. Okay.
Yeah. Here's another one you will know. See, I'm not going to even say her name because you're going to see it as soon as it comes up.
Barbara Wawa, yeah.
Barbara Streisand. She actually looks better now, I think, than when she was younger.
She's got to be.
Keep in mind that she was famous when we were a kid, so add that on there.
I'd say 83. Let me go with 87.
Oh, you should have stuck with the 83. You were dead on. She's 83. I think she looks pretty good.
She does.
You know?
You might be right, Mike. She might look better.
I think she looks better. I don't know why. I think she looks better. She grew into her nose or something. I don't know what it is, but she looks really good.
Maybe she has nose job.
Well, that's probably true with all her money. Think about how much money that woman has. This one is another one that Shirley MacLaine.
Sure, yes.
I mean, when we were kids, she was old then. So,
she's not a friend of Christianity, so.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
No, she has strong opinions about it. But that's okay. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, right, Mike?
Hey, the bottom line is she has to, at the end of the path.
She's got to face her decision.
Yes.
I would say she was around in the 80s, 70s, 80s. Let me say 67.
What?
She older than that?
A lot older. Gonna have to add about 30 years to it.
She's in her 90s?
91.
91.
91. I would have. There she is. There's 91. Or there was. Yeah, that's 91.
Over there, right left hand side.
Yeah. But she still looks good for a woman 91. Jeez. Cedric the Entertainer. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
He's a black entertainer that knocked down some walls and helped the people of color get into comedy. I watched.
I have seen it. I haven't seen his routine, but I have seen it.
He's given credit as one of the men that knocked down the doors and did stand up in. He was in the time when black people couldn't be in white clubs, and he was one of the people that knocked the doors down and became one of the white one of the people that white clubs would hire, and he was telling stories. I watched The Dark Side of Black Comedy. That was really eye-opening. Things that we wouldn't even think of happening to them, and where they wouldn't even be allowed to come into the club except to do their thing and then leave, and they couldn't headline the club. But then he became so big they couldn't deny him, and it was really he was part of Def Jam Comedy. So, but anyway, do you have a guess, or did you guess?
No, I don't have a guess.
He's 61. Then there's Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly.
She looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind that she was one of those that I think she was on The Voice.
Yeah, it's The Voice.
Yeah.
She's 46.
43. That's good. Good. All right, Jessica Alba.
Not sure I know her.
I have a hard. I know the name, but oftentimes I can't. She actually looks pretty good though.
Pretty good.
Yeah. She's 44.
Is that George?
George where?
Fourth row down, I think. Third or fourth row down. In the middle.
This guy?
No. Yeah, maybe. No, that's not George. That's not George. This one. That's not George.
I don't know. I don't have a clue who he
I
is.
don't think so.
Anyway, she's, what'd I say? She's 44.
44.
Now we got Penelope Cruz. You might know her. She broke through with a lot of Latin people.
No, I don't know, Mike.
Okay, she is 51.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if you're going to know who this is, but I found it interesting. Kim Gordon. Do you know who she is?
No.
Okay, I didn't know who she was either, but I thought it was an interesting enough thing that I want to talk about her. She's an American musician, singer, songwriter, rapper, best known as the bassist, guitarist, and vocalist of an alternative rock band called Sonic Youth. You've heard of Sonic Youth, I think, right?
No.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, they're like a punk band, and they did a lot of pretty. I heard of the band Sonic Youth, and I kind of heard of her, but I never realized that this woman is 72. And
72?
72, right here.
She's gorgeous.
She is. And I love a chick bass guitarist, a chick guitarist, all that, because that breaks the mold that all men are supposed to be doing this. It's cool to see a woman get up there and make music and have people playing music that she's done. So that was really cool to see that. I kept saying, who is she? I should know her. And then I looked up her profile and said, that's why. Okay. So really cool. She's, but I couldn't believe she was 72. She doesn't look 72. I mean, of all these pictures on here, none of them look like she's 72. So, it says girls invented punk rock, not England. So, I think it's really cool. I don't know if she's playing now or playing. I guess she's still playing. I don't know.
If Jagger's playing, she could be playing.
Yeah, right. Mary McDonnell. Now, I don't know if you know her either, but
Okay. That's familiar. Sure.
let me pull her up here. I didn't really. I still don't know her by the looks of things. But she. Why did I put her? I put her Wikipedia on here. Wonder why I did that. Why did I do that? Because she did like Dances with Wolves. She did Battlestar Galactica.
She was Laura Rosin in Battlestar.
Yes, that's the one. Yes,
She's the first one. I know, and she was in Independence Day.
Independence Day. Yep. I knew there was a reason I put that up there. I put that up there for when I can't really remember who they are. I have to put notes up there because I know that I should know most of these, and I do know most of them. But every once in a while, they throw one
I
at me.
did say the name was familiar. Now I see her exactly as she looked on Battlestar.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly how she looked.
Well,
I know her age. It says 50. She was born 52, so
she's 73.
73.
Yep. Last two, and I know you know both of them. I think you know both of them. Anne Margaret.
And
You know where I first saw her? Tommy.
yes,
I remember as a kid, I fantasized over that woman because she was in that movie, and the things she did in that movie were very erotic.
well, it says that she's 82, so
Nope. She's 84.
84.
Yeah, that's an old
That
picture.
picture's old.
Or an old. That's an old. But still, she looks pretty good.
She's excellent for 84.
I love that movie. The best part of Tommy was her. Acid Queen, that's what it was. She's the Acid Queen. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, Jay Leno.
85.
Believe it or not, 75.
Wow. I thought he was old.
I had a hard time thinking of him at 75. But, you never know. Just kind of cool. We had a lot of people that were really cool there.
Yeah. It's good listening.
All right, Monty Python turns 50. It says here, this month marks the 50th anniversary of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Great movie.
Oh, I was really surprised to hear you say that. I wasn't sure what you thought of them.
Oh, I love
Monty
Monty Python.
Python, I spent so much time on Monty Python movies, and I love
You know
them.
what? See, his comedy is okay. He was just making fun of things that happened. He was just making fun of it.
And nothing was off
It was not
limits.
you.
Nothing was off limits.
He was fun. He's brilliant comedy. Brilliant comedy.
They were awesome. I as a kid, that was a big part of my childhood. I remember running through the channels and came across the Holy Grail on PBS, and I'm like, "What is this?" And Bowski was into it, and so I was like, "What is this?" And then I started seeing their stuff deeper and deeper into their stuff. Their earlier stuff was really bizarre. I mean, just they did a German show, and they played with a lot of the stuff that you couldn't really talk about in that time. They messed around with Hitler and stuff like that. And I saw Sir Spamalot in New York, and that was a really good show. And that was a live theater thing, and I got to see. Wow, that was Sir Spamalot was awesome. I even when I went up there
A
within.
lot of people don't understand Monty Python. They don't get it.
Well, they don't, and a lot of people just think that it's just garbage, but they're really awesome. I love their stuff. It just is really. What's this? If you should by any chance use marriage guidance counselor again as an insert, please let us know because David Frost's address has been mentioned in it. Oh, so I had David Frost. His real address was mentioned in that. That's funny. Oh, that was. There's very few things, and you couldn't do that today either. You couldn't have people that were that crazy and that free to do what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
The PC police would be all over.
Oh, all over, because well, But they did have a lot of guys in dresses. So Trump wouldn't like it.
all the time.
Okay, so did you hear about Bezos' EV pickup truck?
No.
Oh, this is interesting. So MSN put out this article, and because, obviously there's issues with Tesla because people don't want to buy a Tesla because of Elon Musk's involvement in politics, but hopefully that'll all change once he gets out of it. But Bezos-backed Slate Auto debuts analog EV pickup truck that's decidedly anti-Tesla. So Bezos is probably just enjoying this because, he's no longer the most wealthy man in the world because he got trumped by Elon.
Even after his losses,
Yeah.
he's still the most wealthy man.
Can you imagine what it's like to have, to lose that much money and still be the wealthiest guy? It's crazy. But this truck here, there's a picture of it. Let me see here. There it is. Not a bad looking truck. It's a little truck, but it's not bad looking. 7 cubic foot is the frunk. The bed's about 351 cubic feet. It's got the connector in the back like most of them do. I mean, it looks decent. I don't know what kind of money we're talking. I don't know if it said in the article. Let me look here. Oh, here it is. Says Slate isn't saying how much it'll cost. Multiple sources said that they've gone back and forth over the number, and so much can change between now and late 2026, which is when it's coming out. The company says it will start under $20,000 after the federal tax credit. Under $20,000. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. That means anybody can buy. Well, not anybody can buy, but
Yeah,
most people can buy.
right. And, well, of course, we're talking that Tesla's talking about bringing out the Model Q, which will be in that price range too. And they also have the the revised Model Y that's going to be in the mid-20s after the tax rebate. So, yeah, we're going to see a whole lot of changes in the way that that we're in the Tesla lineup. They're still going to have high end, but they're still going to really push this year. They're going to push the new stuff out, and the cyber car, the cyber taxi, or whatever they're calling it. That's supposed to launch in 2 states in June.
Is that self-driving?
Yes. So,
My kids rode in in San Francisco. It was a
Waymo.
Waymo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now the
They
one
were
thing.
nervous at first, but it delivered them right where they're supposed to be perfectly.
Now that's something. Okay, so here's the difference between the Waymo and the Tesla. Waymo uses LiDAR, and it also has those cars going around the country that are capturing the roads and all that stuff. So it'll be accurate as long as they don't change anything on those roads. Tesla uses a cross between AI and uses cameras so that it can figure out where you're at, and it doesn't rely. If you change the map, it doesn't matter. It as long as the map is accurate on Google or whatever, it'll find everything. And it'll also be able to tell you where their speed traps are. It'll be able to tell you all kinds of things that this one probably won't tell you. But that's the big thing is that LiDAR versus their camera technology. One of the negative things is that the camera technology relies on the cameras being clean, and if they aren't clean, they're not going to. One thing that did happen over the past, it happened to me this past Saturday when I was going down to Philly, and I've never had this happen before, but it happened to me 3 times, 4 times this weekend. And the rain was so hard that when somebody was passing me and they were kicking a lot of water up, it set off that it didn't want to do the auto driving because it couldn't determine exactly where we were because there was so much water running around. So that's something you should have been driving anyway. You shouldn't rely on self-driving for something like that because so much water was coming down. It was raining real hard. And I've never had it shut down, the self-driving, but it said we can't figure out where we are, so we're going to give it back to you and let you drive. So it was really bad.
How much time did you have
What do you mean?
before it quit driving?
Well, we were driving. What happened was a big truck drove by me, and water flew all over my car. It hit all my cameras at once. So I was probably driving about an hour before it did that to me. So
How much time? What I mean is, how much time from the time the truck went to it shut down?
Probably about a minute. It gives you time to take over.
Okay, that's what I mean.
And if you don't take over, it'll pull the car over because it doesn't want you to wreck. So, but it says it'll say take the wheel back because I can't see where I'm going, basically. So, and it's rare that it did that, but it did it to me 3 or 4 times this weekend. And it was raining really bad, and these cars were flying by, and it was deep water. It wasn't just rain. It was one of those situations where those things happen. You just gotta deal with it. But yeah, I'd rather have that happen than have it run into something. So, but anyway, this car looks pretty interesting. If indeed this is the car that we're going to see, it seems like a reasonable. I don't know what kind of range it's going to get or whatever, but I think that we're going to see prices drop as more of them are made, and we'll see that the range will go up as we get the technology. That's the thing. I mean, when you get in on the early technology, it takes time for it to catch up to itself, and once it catches up, then we'll see the specs on these get a lot better. So I'm excited about the next couple of years. We'll see how he does with it. He's got the money to back it, so now we can see how far he wants to kick it in. I like the technology. It's awesome. The one thing it won't have, though, is it's not going to have self-driving. I mean, not out of the gate anyway. And I like the self-driving. Some people don't trust it, but I trust it. And you've ridden with me with. Wait, have you ridden with me with it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, it's gotten really so smart. I'm really a believer that it's the technology to have. And
I've ridden with you, and you came on a ramp, and you floored it, and that puppy picked up so fast.
and I didn't even have it on the fast setting. I had it on I usually keep it on chill mode, which is the lowest setting because that's the best mileage you get out of it. But it's fun. I love that car, and I'm not going to be able to love it for much longer because I'll be getting rid of it soon, unfortunately. All right, next.
Can you take a second to explain why they changed?
Okay.
Why they took it away?
Why they aren't letting me buy it out?
Yes. Okay.
So the reason that they do this, it's really kind of. I think what they're doing is a little illegal, but what they do is they rent you the car or lease you the car for a period of time, and then what they do is at the end of the lease, they have you turn the car in, then they'll point out everything that's wrong with it, charge you for all the fixing up of it, and try to get you to lease another one. And then they take those cars and they put them on their site to sell. So now you're buying a brand new car, basically, and it's already fixed up because somebody had to pay to fix it up. Well, the person that leased it probably wouldn't have fixed up a lot of the things that they claim are wrong. So they just have like a brand new car that's in their showroom to sell or to use as spares, or
So they take the dents out and everything.
They replace the parts that have dents and scratches and all that stuff.
And you'll owe that when you turn it in.
And they're gonna charge me. Last time they raped me last time. I think I paid $9,000 when I turned it in. I thought that was a little high, but this one won't be as bad because I've got all the parts. I already replaced everything. Pretty much. There's one spot that I didn't replace, and I probably won't replace it because it's just the small scratches, a couple scratches on the foil on the end. But other than that, everything has been restored except the seats. The seats are defective. When I got it, 6 months after I got it, the seats were ripping. And when I took it into Tesla, they were saying, "Oh, well, that's from your wallet and stuff." I said, I don't have a wallet. I don't carry a wallet. I carry everything in my phone. I don't need a wallet, and I don't have my phone in my back pocket. So when I get in the car, the phone comes out and is running the car. So I told them that. And plus, the back seat has got rips too, and I don't ever ride in the back. So it's defective because the last car I had, the seats were never ripped. So anyway, all right, George Santos. You hear about him?
Yes, my buddy from Congress who faked his resume.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. Okay. Well, it says here, former U.S. Rep. George Santos was sentenced to over 7 years in prison for federal fraud and identity theft yesterday for admitting to deceiving donors and misusing identities of nearly a dozen people, including family members, to fund his campaign. The New York Republican, expelled from Congress in 2023 after less than a year in office, pleaded guilty to charges last summer and agreed to pay $580,000 in fines and serve prison time. The 36-year-old Santos was sentenced to 87 months in prison. His lawyers had sought a sentence of 2 years, citing Santos' cooperation and acceptance of responsibilities. Prosecutors had sought at least 7 years, arguing Santos had not shown genuine remorse based on his social media activity. In December 2023, Santos became the 6th House member to be expelled in U.S. history and the first to be removed without conviction of a crime or supporting the Confederacy. So, yeah, that's pretty nasty there.
He cried in court. I'm not moved.
Yeah. Well, I guess you get what sometimes you get what you deserve. I don't know. He scammed $3,000 from a GoFundMe campaign for a disabled veteran's dying service dog. An immigration document showing his mother was not in New York on 9/11, as he claimed. Man, that's low. That's really low. Santos, Republican New York? Okay. Has become a household name because of the controversy surrounding his time in office. He admitted he embellished his resume from where he attended college and his professional background to his Jewish heritage, calling for Santos' resignation have grown within his own party. Soon followed, and
it's one of the few things the Republicans and Democrats agreed on was throwing his butt out.
Yeah. Jeez. I can't believe he got away with all this stuff for as long as he did. Like, they wouldn't look into this stuff before he got elected?
They trusted him.
Yeah.
They trust people.
Well, that was a bad idea. And then we got a FBI arrest Wisconsin judge over obstructing immigration enforcement. It says here Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested by the FBI for obstruction charges for allegedly helping an undocumented immigrant evade arrest during an immigration operation at her courthouse. The arrest marks the latest enforcement action under the Trump administration efforts to crack down on undocumented immigrants. So
what happened was that the ICE cannot go into a courtroom.
Oh, okay.
It's considered private. It's considered private.
Okay.
It's the judge's operation, and it's considered private. So she saw ICE out in the hallway and took the plaintiff out the back entrance.
Wow.
But they had ICE at the back entrance and caught him as he kicked the street.
Wow.
So she was charged.
Wow. Well.
With aiding and abetting.
Yeah. Well, Trump.
She's not the only one. There was another one.
Yeah. I think I got that one too. Let me see here. I think I may have the other one. I don't know. Let's see here. Maybe I don't. Okay, the other one I don't have. Next story I have is about Pope Francis. Who was the other one?
It says here at the top. I don't remember his name. There was a guy. If you scroll back up, it says.
Okay.
All the way up.
All the way? Okay.
There it is.
Oh, Pam Bondi. What's that?
It says Judge Hannah Dugan and former Judge Joel Cannon.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. Okay. Wow. Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating in 80 years, according to a poll.
Yes. And that's because of the economy.
Yeah.
He's got tremendous approval on the border and immigration, but his economics, because of the tariffs,
right,
are in the toilet.
Wow.
Walmart or Target or Meijer is going to put a tax on their merchandise for what they have to pay for the raising tariff.
Wow.
So everybody will know exactly what they're paying more for.
Okay. Wow.
Now, Trump is betting that it'll turn around, especially when he gets China under control.
Yeah.
China's fighting him tooth and nail.
Yeah.
If he gets China under control, the prices will come down.
I don't know. That's.
China's hurting, Mike. China has a lot of their factories are closed.
Okay.
Because we are their largest market.
I believe that.
And their people are suffering from the tariffs. So both have an incentive to negotiate.
Okay.
It's just that Xi is being stubborn. Xi is the premier of China.
Okay. Well,
he's head of the Central Committee.
It's definitely an interesting battle.
But it's all economic.
Yes.
His immigration policy is very, very favorable rating in the United States.
Okay.
Only the progressives and liberals are against it. The moderates, independents, and MAGA people are they're all for it.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. Okay, we got Pope Francis laid to rest. Come on. Come on up. There we go. Is that the right one? I guess it's the right one. Nope, we value your privacy. Okay, fine. It's well, what's a conclave?
All right. You'll be interested maybe to know that the way the Catholic Church picks a pope is the exact same way the Salvation Army picks a general. What happens in the Salvation Army is all the commissioners, the highest rank you can get other than general.
Okay.
All the commissioners in the world get together and vote on a general.
Okay.
There's a lot of politics involved. Okay?
Okay.
A conclave is where all the cardinals, the highest rank you can get in the Catholic Church, other than the Pope, get together. Cardinals from all over the world come to this conclave, and it's a resort, it's a retreat facility in Italy, and they come to this retreat facility that can handle a crowd of that size, and they vote. And my friend, who is a devout Catholic, hopes that this time it will be a black man from Africa.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
That's his hope and prayer, that they'll finally break the color line and go for a black, and he's a conservative, which my friend wants. Pope Francis was a liberal, progressive. So my friend is conservative, so he hopes for a conservative. I don't know if that's the best or not, but I'm just saying he's hoping for this black man for two reasons. He's a conservative, and he's African, and he's black. He's African.
Okay.
And he would love to break the color barrier.
Yeah, it would be interesting, but boy, talk about going from one extreme to the other.
Well, sometimes I like to balance it out.
Yeah.
Go from one extreme to the other as a balance.
Okay.
To the church. At least that's what I'm learning from him.
Okay.
From what I'm reading. Because I'm interested. I kind of, I'm not anti-Pope like a lot of conservative Christians are anti-Pope.
Right.
I'm not anti-Pope.
Okay.
I like the Catholic Church. I'm not opposed to the Catholic Church. So I know they don't teach salvation the same way we do. But the Catholics I know either are nominal, like a lot of Christians are nominal,
Okay.
or they love Jesus. And, I can't quibble with the ones that love Jesus.
Right.
So I'm interested. And I'm hoping that it's this black man at least for the same reasons as my friend does, to balance out Pope Francis, kind of pull the church back just a little bit.
Okay.
Not a lot, just a little bit. And because Pope Francis was out there in a lot of things, and he irritated many Catholics because Catholics by nature are conservative.
Okay.
Socially conservative. And it's a hard stretch for them for their priests to bless homosexual marriage.
Right.
It's a big stretch. You probably don't care at all, or in fact, you probably think it's a good thing that they bless homosexual marriage. But a lot of Catholics don't look at it like that.
I think if we have the belief that people are believing in God, it doesn't matter how you get to the dance. It matters that how you treat people and do things once you're at the dance, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you can be gay, you can be straight, you can be non-sexual. I mean, as long as you get there, as long as you get to as long as you believe in something, that I think is the important thing. Is that it's hard to tell someone what to believe. They got to believe it in their heart, and they've got to believe that that is the right way to do something. In my
You
eyes,
see, the Bible says that marriage is between a man and a woman.
right?
So let's just leave that on the table for a second.
Okay,
Also, marriage, homosexual marriage, is the law of the land. So I've given up the argument.
okay,
It is the law of the land. So I don't argue or fight with it anymore. It just is. And I accept it.
right,
And I live with it. And so, where other people I know are still fighting that battle. And I just think it's a lost cause, and it doesn't affect my life.
exactly.
And, you know,
That's how I feel too. Is that, you know, the thing is, in the grand scheme of things, we all have to make our decisions on what we do believe, and I don't want someone telling me. That's one issue I had with one of my friends, who always would say, "Well, you don't believe in God, but that's not what I said. I never said I didn't believe in God." You know, don't assume that I'm going to go to hell because you don't believe what I believe. You know, that's the wrong way to do it. We can have a discussion. We can discuss whatever you want. I may not agree with your stuff. You may not agree with mine. But don't tell me your God is right and my God isn't. Don't tell me that. That's not the right way to approach it. The right way to approach it is tell me why your God is better than my God and why it's not even the same God. How do you know it's not the same God? You don't know that. Just because you believe something that I may not agree with doesn't mean that we do not worship the same deity. It just means that I believe a little bit different than you do. But it doesn't mean that your God is different than mine. It's probably the same God. It probably is in some strange thing that we can't even understand. It could be the same God. But in the same sense, when you're talking about the time period of, say, the Catholics, okay? Let's talk about the Catholics. Or, you know, you're not allowed to be gay because it's God's will or whatever it is. Remember, men wrote the Bible. And there are times that are different now than they were back then. You were supposed to be, if you were a woman, you were supposed to be subservient to your husband. You were supposed to, do things that women do.
you're correct. Women did not go to Hebrew school in the Jewish tradition 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Women did not learn to read,
Yes.
except if you had a father that taught you. But if you didn't have a father that taught you, you didn't learn how to read.
Yeah. The
It's
times
not
are
acceptable today. Times are different.
times are different. The atmosphere is different. The things around us. God didn't talk about speeding. Speeding's not a sin. There's lots of things we have that are tempting us now that we didn't have back then too. So there's revisions and things like that there's things that were never covered in the Bible, or society has changed in such a way that, like now you'll see a woman that runs a church. The Ken's church that he was buried at had a woman pastor. That wasn't even.
My wife's a pastor.
Yeah, I mean that just wasn't even heard of back then. So
there are many people that have broken fellowship with me because my wife is ordained.
yeah, and to me that's stupid. I'm sorry. There's as far as I'm concerned, women can do that job as good, if not better, than men, because women are better listeners than men. There's lots of things that are different, and were not really questioned in the ancient times that we're running into in a daily thing now. It's
Now
not.
my wife would not want to preach, wants to work in children's ministry and administration. She does not revel in being ordained,
No.
but she is ordained. And just the fact that she's ordained, people have broken fellowship. I left the church recently because they got on my case because my wife was ordained. Didn't know my wife. Didn't know that she didn't want to preach. Didn't know she didn't want to lead the church. Didn't know she didn't want to be anything but a children's minister and and do the work behind the scenes.
Right.
But yet they disfellowship. My wife did not want to be a pastor per se. That's just her personal preference.
Right.
But they disfellowshipped anyway.
It's crazy. I don't know. I just think that it's interesting that
People believe what they want to believe. Like,
Yes.
you can't change their mind.
that's correct. Anyway, all right. So the conclave is out there seeking.
Where they choose the new pope.
And how many people were involved in that?
Maybe 150, maybe around there.
Okay.
I'm guessing. There isn't that many.
Okay. And they're from around the world. It's not just one.
They're from around the world.
Okay. Well, I think it's interesting, and it's funny. I'm looking here. It says the longest conclave was 1268 to 1271, which was 2 years 9 months. Here it says here's one that was 1314 to 1316. It was 2 years and 3 months. I mean, I guess they. Oh, okay. So this is telling me who won those, if you want to call it one, election of Pope Gregory X, and then we have.
They would say that God chose after man debated.
Yeah. I don't know. I find it interesting because it's something that's foreign to me because, I really never looked at Catholic stuff at all because it just, I don't know. I remember one of the people that I considered a friend, probably one of the only people I considered a friend in high school, had to go to catechism.
Catechism.
What is that? Is that?
That is where you learn the basics of the faith.
Okay.
It's usually in the Methodist Church. It's done at 13, and the Salvation Army it's done at 7 and 14. I don't know the age that it's done, but you can do it as an adult too. Before you become a Catholic, you have to go through catechism. So they teach you how to be a Catholic.
Okay.
And in Methodism, they teach you to be a Methodist, and in Salvation Army, they teach you to be a Salvationist. It's where you learn.
Okay.
And catechism is important. When I went through catechism, it didn't mean anything to me. I was 13 and I didn't care.
Yeah. Well, I think it's we're going to see who they decide is the next
And
pope.
this is where you get black smoke and white smoke. Black smoke comes out at the end of the day. The black smoke comes out if they haven't made a decision. White smoke comes out when they've made a decision, and they will announce it within, I think, 2 days.
Huh. So it's kind of like the whether you're going to have a boy or a girl, pink or blue.
Exactly.
We're going to have a pope.
Exactly.
We're going to have a pope. He's going to be he's going to be a black pope this time. So it will have to be black smoke.
Yeah, I have to reverse the smoke.
Well, I think it's an interesting. I mean, because before, I guess I just never really paid any attention to it. So because I had no attachment to any really didn't have any attachment to that type of ceremony. The reason I'm doing it now is I'm older and I find it fascinating. And I actually thought Pope Francis stood out to me because he was so open. And that one of the reasons I never really liked Catholic type beliefs was that they were so closed-minded. And that's one of the reasons I dislike most religions is that they're very closed-minded on a lot of people. And it's like when I was a kid, I'd go to a church and I'd have my real long hair and I'd walk in and I'd be like, they looked at me like I stole their wallets, you know. And
when I got saved, I was a long-haired hippie with tie-dyed clothes. And I went to church and no one would talk to me
Yeah.
or accept me. And so I stopped going to church and I got into drugs.
Yeah, well.
I made an error. I should have kept searching for a church that would accept me. Well, I didn't do that.
I don't think you made an error, and I'll tell you why. It made you who you are today. And you needed to go through that to get where you are. And I think everything happens for a reason. I think I had lung surgery for a reason. I had, all these things that, Pam dying. That was.
Mike, that's a very biblical perception.
And it took me 8 years.
For every experience, God uses it to grow you up.
All I can say is that for 8 years of my life, I was in denial of things, and I couldn't accept it. I couldn't accept that she was dead, and I couldn't accept that it wasn't my fault. That's very egotistical of me to think that, but it was really hard. That was the hardest thing in my life. When Ken died, that was pretty hard too, because he was with me for almost 38 years. 38 years. And he was with me longer than my father was with me. He was with me a long time, and it was. But I was able to get through that a little bit easier because I think the Pam thing prepared me for it a lot different. But he was those were the two people that believed in me and stood by me in my good decisions and my bad decisions. And it was a rough time in my life, and I just don't know. It was weird because I never ever saw Ken dying before me. He was younger than me. He was stronger than me. He was never sick. He was, I always was like, I hope Ken calls off this week because I'm really tired and I don't want to work. And I'd never call practice off. And then Pam died, and then I called practice off. I said, look, I need some time. And I didn't call that many weeks off. It took me a couple of weeks before I could do it because I was filled with so much confusion. And when he died,
did you do the radio show that way?
I missed probably 2 or 3 weeks, but it was hard because it was like I was trying to do it, and I was just lost because things didn't feel right. Nothing felt right. Nothing I did felt right. My world changed, and I'm good with things now. I'm settled with things. I've accepted things the way they are, and it took me a long time to accept that she was gone, and it took me less time to accept that he was gone. But I think because she died first, I went through a lot of that stuff already, and it made it easier, but not easy. I just stopped. I didn't listen to any music at all. And Christine kept saying, "Why don't you listen to music? Why don't you listen to music? You're even listening to talk shows on the radio." And I said, "I can't listen to music." It took me a year to start listening to music again. So it's rough. And now his mother's going through some serious issues. So now I'm going to have to step up and check find out what's going on, because well, last time I heard she was I got a call from his sister saying that she came home from work and her mother was on the floor. She broke her hip.
Oh my.
So I don't know.
How old's your mother?
She's 80 something.
It's hard when you're 80.
Yeah. Well, I said I asked her to keep me posted on everything, because she called me right as I was going to Philadelphia. I said, I can't do anything today, but if she's in the hospital, I'll visit her. So she's in the med center, Hershey Med Center. So I'll probably go to see her in the next couple of days. So, I mean, she's like a mother to me. She treated me always well, and I appreciate her a lot. And she's always like, she'll call me and she'll leave a message if she can't get me, and say, I'm just checking to see, what stuff you're working on. And she's a great woman. But anyway, all right. So the Pope, is there anything else you want to talk about him?
No,
Okay.
that's good.
All right, we're done with him. McDonald's debuts its first new permanent menu in 4 years. And it's interesting because we haven't seen a whole lot of different things changing on their menu. Their menu's been pretty much the same as it's been for a long time. They now have McCrispy strips made of 100% white meat chicken. I don't know how that's different from their last chicken strips, or did they have chicken strips? Oh, they had chicken McNuggets, right? Yeah.
They have chicken McNuggets.
Oh, so these are 100% white meat versus whatever they make chicken nuggets out of. I've never seen the nugget part of a chicken, but yeah. So that's one thing that they've had. They also have creamy chili dip. Guess that must be, well, that's new. So it says there's been a demand for chicken strips according to executives. There will be 5. Wait, I'm sorry. They'll be available May 5th in 3 or 4 count orders of the chicken. Expect the highest standard of quality. And boy, do you remember when we were kids, how McDonald's was so different? I think I have an article here. Do I have it here? Might be in the other section. About what happened to Ronald McDonald. Did we do that last week?
Yes, we did that last week.
Okay, I knew I heard it somewhere.
Because of clowns.
Yes. So it's kind of interesting when you think about, the fact that, when we were kids, it was just a different type of stuff. But yeah, it's funny how it's not a kid thing anymore. It's no longer a big deal. And I remember having I went to a McDonald's when I was doing wrestling. They had a Ronald McDonald statue on a park bench, and I sat next to him and I put my arm around him. We got a picture of it. And it was just kind of a cute little picture. So that was fun. Let's see here. Okay, so the next thing, getting down to the end of the entertainment stuff. Okay. Kardashians are in the news. Kim Kardashian got robbed a couple years ago, and it was a big deal because they thought it was the heist that they had was she was actually accosted and tied up and stuff, and they were saying that it was an inside job and all that. There's a trial that opened in Paris yesterday. Well, I don't know if it was yesterday, but for 10 suspects accused of robbing Kim Kardashian at gunpoint during Paris Fashion Week in 2016. I was still working when that happened. I remember all that. And here we are almost 10 years later, and they just now have these suspects. The suspects, 9 men and 1 woman, many in their 60s and 70s, allegedly stormed Kardashian's hotel suite while her bodyguards were away and tied her up, stole roughly $6 million in jewelry, including a $4 million engagement ring from Kanye West. And prosecutors say 5 men disguised as police officers forced the night concierge to lead them to Kardashian's room, where she was gagged, bound, and locked in a bathroom. The robbers escaped on foot and by bicycle. DNA found on the zip ties and tape used to restrain Kardashian led to the suspect's arrests. Of the original 12 defendants, one's died and another, suffering from advanced dementia, has been deemed unfit to stand trial. 5 are charged with carrying out the heist, while 5 are serving as accessories. The trial is set to run until May 23rd, with Kardashian set to testify in person on May 13th. I wonder if she gets a fee for that. Like yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, I wonder if that's going to be equal to what she would charge someone for an appearance, personal appearance fee,
I don't think so.
You don't think so? But I always thought that was a setup and that she didn't really get robbed, but now we're
When I
going...
appeared in court, I got enough for the parking garage.
Yeah. But finally,
I'd go and give testimony and get just enough to cover the parking.
I was lucky I got out of court being a freaking, a juror. I did not want to do it. When I was working, I needed to be working. I didn't need to have that kind of stuff. I mean, because they wanted me when Pam died, and there was no way I was going to do that. I couldn't even think straight. Okay, so we got that. Then we got 2 more little things. President Trump dismisses all scientists working on national climate assessment. It's a congressionally mandated climate change report. So he's dismissed everybody. I don't understand. I mean, I realize he doesn't believe there's anything to it, but there is something.
He's gonna replace them with scientists that do not believe that man is totally responsible for climate change. He has to, because it's a congressional mandated report.
Okay.
He has to put out that report.
Okay. I mean, I like some of the things he does. I don't like some of the things he does. I don't know. I just think it's, I don't know. Because if he's going to replace it with people, that means we're not getting rid of it. So why not just leave the people there that are doing the job now?
Because he believes that most people that believe in climate change, it's a religion to them.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I think it's really a shame that some areas, I think he could be putting his, it'd be one thing if he was, I don't know if he's using it as a distraction for some things, or if he's, because he's not a dumb man. He certainly does things for a reason. So, I'm
not saying that I'm a climate change denier.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they have zealots on this committee.
Yeah, I believe that. He truly does.
I don't know if man is responsible for the worst part of this.
Oh, I'm sure man is.
So, but see, I am an environmentalist. I want to have a clean planet.
Yes. The only way to have a clean planet, though, is to get rid of all the people, because people do not want to have.
Some environmentalists want to do away with humans.
All right. let's see. Lastly, on the entertainment version, entertainment stuff, this is kind of cool. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees unveiled: Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, White Stripes, Chubby Checker, Warren Zevon, and more to join the class of 2025. I think there's
got Chubby in there, huh?
Yeah, 13 inductees represents a gamut that runs from the 60s star Chubby Checker to the millennium favorites, the White Stripes. They actually have Bad Company on that, Soundgarden, Joe Cocker. I think that there's some good people in there.
Good.
Yeah. So
Bad Company.
Yeah, Bad Company.
What I listen to. Bad Company.
As long as Bad Company's been around, I mean, they're still around. They're still making music out there. I mean, mostly tribute stuff, but their tribute. I'd like to do so. I used to do Can't Get Enough of Your Love. I used to do. I'd love to do. I wouldn't mind doing a Bad Company tribute band because I like a lot of their stuff. But anyway, that's that. And do you want to do the Twisted Sister thing?
Sure.
Might as well do that one because then the floor is yours. Actually, the floor can be yours for this too. I did a lot of talking here.
Dee Snider was a jerk.
Yeah, well, he even admits to it. That's the
statistical jerk.
The thing that's funny about that is that he does the Breaking the Band segment, and it's funny when he says, "Well, I was kind of a jerk there." But their upbringing, their story is really, I thought, a very interesting story about the things that they went through to make this band big, and it shows how hard it is to do that. I've been doing music.
And to stay there.
Yes, it's very hard to get there, and once you get there, it's just as hard to stay there. So I found the story. I've seen this story 3 times. I read this story 3 times, and I've seen versions of this story, and I find it really interesting of what they've been through. And I'm going to bring up this page here because this is who we're talking about. So the thing about them is I know some people that know them. Now, I don't know any of them, but I know some people that know them. And they, it was when they were getting their fame, I was in Apathy, and we were trying to do some of their stuff, and it's good stuff. Back then, I wasn't really that. It was hard for me to sing that stuff back then because their stuff was really hard, but really high, I should say. But I could do it now because my voice seems to be going up. I don't understand that. But Dee Snider is still in. He has a radio show. He does some commentating like this, where he talks about bands and stuff like that. The other guys, they're all a little bit older than I am, I think.
Well, does he still tour with the band?
No, I don't think he's saying. I don't think the band's together anymore.
Because they reconstituted to make money because they were all poor.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. That they from 80. Well, I guess they started in the 70s, 72 it said, and they didn't start making any money because they were a bar band. I mean, let's see, that makes him. He's probably about 7 years older than I am, I guess, or that band is. But they started. It says they were originally a New Jersey band, and I didn't know that because I knew that they were. I knew they were Long Island based, but they really did it the hard way. I mean, talk about it's a tough gig when you're playing other people's music and you're being a bar band. You got to resign that that's what you're going to be forever. It's to make that next step, to make you stand out, and all that. You know, they had J.J. French as the lead guitar and a manager, Eddie Ojeda guitar, Mark Mendoza on bass, A.J. Perro drummer. He died a couple years.
He died.
Yeah, and Dee Snider. Now Dee Snider, I didn't know he was classically trained.
Well, and he took care of himself like a classical man.
Yeah, he would do.
Tea and honey.
Yeah, and the guys would pick on him because he did that. Yeah, and I understand that because you know, there are people that do those things, and I don't do those little things that he does, but I do warm my voice up before I sing, and I know I should do those because, like, even in acting, they tell you should do these vocal exercises and stuff, and I don't know. I get bored with them. I'd rather find a couple songs that hit my range and I can sing different things to them. But they want you to, you know, you should do it the way he's doing it. But anyway, they were from 1972. They were in New Jersey. They were later based in Long Island. They're best known for "We're Not Gonna Take It" and "I Want to Rock." Those are the songs I want to do. I told the band I would love to do some of their stuff. Their years active, it said that they were active 72 to 88. Then they were active 98 to 2001. Then 2003 to 2016. And apparently they were doing stuff in 2023 too.
I guess they did it when the money ran out.
Well, you know, here's the big deal about this. I've felt in my own life, and that is that when you're the singer, you're automatically assumed to be the leader, even if you're not the leader. Like, I'm not the leader in this band, in the band I'm in now, but I'm the face of the band because nobody wants that responsibility. And you know, I guess I kind of like it because I feel if you have a good band and they aren't jealous types, I feel that a band needs a face of some sort. And in like Kiss, you have Gene and you have what's his face? You have the two guys that stayed in it the whole time. So you know, when you have that face, the band, the audience zooms in on them. You know, Queen. You know, who was the face of Queen? Well, you know, it was Freddie Mercury, and he was the band. I mean, even though he wasn't the band, he was the band, and that's the way it is. Whoever sings is the face of the band. Now, if you have a band like Rush, you know, Geddy Lee is a singer, so he typically is the face of the band, but they were more equal because they all did it all. So, but Geddy Lee is the voice of that band. In my band, I'm not the leader of the band, but I probably am thought of as the leader of the band because I'm right out there in front. And the reason why I'm out there in front is because nobody wants that. They want to do their own thing. Now, I got a guitar player that can sing, and he's really good, but he doesn't want to sing. He wants to play guitar. You know, that's why I'm there. He could have fronted that band, but he wants to play guitar. So that's the one danger of having a lead singer is that person is going to be. That's what killed this band in a lot of it, because Dee Snider was the face of the band. And then they got into they weren't going anywhere, being the biker look, and even though that was their beginning, no one cared about that because every band out there is tough and dresses the same. you know, one thing I try to do is I don't dress like a regular guy going up there and singing. The rest of my band, they do. So who's going to stand out? And that's the way Dee Snider was too. I mean, you get a 6'6" guy dressed like, like they were dressed, it kind of stands out. But you got all the guys dressing weird like that. And I remember when I saw them.
The guys wear makeup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what did you think of them the first time you saw them?
They were different.
Yeah. And what was and did you forget them? No.
No, I never forgot.
You won't. And even if they don't wear the makeup now, you're not going to forget them because that
It's
vision.
Like Kiss. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's like Kiss.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And it's funny, we were talking about this at practice on Sunday about bands that, like the 70s, the 60s and the 70s was all about songwriting. That's what it was. And your best songwriters back then were like Ritchie Blackmore and Pink Floyd and stuff like that. And we've talked about some of these bands, and a lot of these bands had problems with the people because people assume wrongly, and then egos take over. And that was one of the things he was saying. I became an egomaniac, and everybody in that band said, "Well, Dee's the issue here. I'm not going to let that be the issue with me in this band." And when I was in Mike Trash and the Barking Rats, I was the issue. I can tell you right now, I was the issue because that's what it was. But my whole band, they don't dress in anything crazy, but I dress in my Mike Trash stuff because I think it's a show. It's not just getting up there and playing music because people can listen to records at home. They don't need a bunch of guys getting up there that are dressed horribly and just there to play just for fun. I do this because I want to put on a show. I don't want to just sing a song. I want to put a show on. So that's what they found in their not their early times, about halfway through the band first run, is that they weren't getting anywhere being a bar band, and they wanted to be more than. Some people were happy being a bar band, and that was never my intentions in any of the bands I was in. I always thought bigger than that, but I can't really see it happening now. I just kind of want to continue what I've done all my life. I want to be that big rock star, and it's just kind of cool. But yeah, I can relate to a lot of the stuff they were talking about. And then when it was funny because Dee had written songs for the first album, and then the other guys wanted to do them because he did all the songs. But he was the go-getter. He was the guy in charge of the stuff. He wasn't in charge. He just took the reins and just did what he had to do. But yeah, the earlier band.
He almost got voted out.
Yeah.
2-2.
That's really weird to think about, that's the thing. And the other thing was that he didn't drink or do drugs. I remember when he did the the parents, those trials that they had about music in the 80s, I guess it was.
Al Gore.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it was longer than that. I was thinking 80s, but it might have been. When was Gore in?
He was in during the 80s.
Okay, it was 80s. Okay.
No, it was after 80s. It was in the 90s.
Okay. So I mean, you got things like that, and I remember all these trials, and I kept thinking, man, this is crazy. They brought Ozzy in because he's satanic and all that stuff. People don't seem to understand this is not a life that what you're watching is not what you're watching a show. You're watching a movie, that's kind of crazy to think about what some of the people did with that. What was your idea of this band? I mean, you're basically.
I don't like heavy metal.
Okay.
I've never gotten into it. But I know that, I did not know that he was straight. I
Yeah.
don't mean sexually. I mean straight, alcohol-wise. And that impressed me because for someone to have that persona
Yes.
and not be living a rock style life,
Right.
is pretty unique.
Yeah. How you had to have different buses because you didn't want to be around the drugs and stuff.
Yeah. And the party bus and the horn bus.
Right. Yeah. And that's the way it would have been for me way back then too, when I was, because in all my bands I've always watched the band self-destruct because they're doing drugs, they're doing all kinds of stuff, and I just wasn't. I'm not really into doing that, and kind of strange to watch these bands self-destruct. I mean, my biggest problem was that I wanted to be bigger than I was. And it never happened because the bands generally didn't last that long. This band really actually lasted pretty long considering all the issues they had. And the weird thing about their best album, as far as I'm concerned, the Stay Hungry album, I think it was that when they were doing the photo shoots.
The only picture that the record label wanted was D alone.
Yeah, yeah.
Which caused a lot of issues.
It basically caused the band to break up the one time.
To break up.
There's jealousy is a big deal, and the problem is that like I said, the other members of the band, you've got to realize that you're going to be background for the singer, not. I mean, look at Alice Cooper's band. I mean, if we had him on, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago. What caused that band to basically break up was that he became Alice Cooper, and the others just became backing musicians when it was a band called Alice Cooper. So you have to worry about that, and you have to, when you're a musician that is insecure enough to worry about that. I shouldn't say it like that because they do have points. We do all the work and you get all the credit, and that's an issue that I've run into before where people have accused that of me too. So I don't know. I'm just in it because I love music and I want to do it, and I don't even care. I'd love to be up on the big stage. One of my fantasies is still to play a big concert. I mean, a big stadium concert. But I'm a little bit past that age. I don't think that's going to happen now, but that was one of my fantasies. We'll see if it happens. But this band was actually introduced to some pretty heavy stuff. I mean, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Slade, Alice Cooper. Those are pretty hefty people. Actually, Led Zeppelin's going on tour again.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The 3 surviving members of the band, I guess, have come to an agreement. I didn't think that would ever happen because I know that Jimmy Page is a little difficult to deal with, apparently, and Robert Plant really didn't like playing with him and only did it for the years that they did it because they were making money. So I don't know, just kind of you think about that. You think you listen to music, you think, wow, that band was really good. And they worked really well together. They didn't really work well together. They're just good musicians, and that's. But that band, I mean, it says that they were breaking attendance records in large halls in the tri-state area. Band growing. They began to take the name SMFFOTS, Sick Mother Effin' Friends of Twisted Sister, shortened later to SF or SMF. I mean, they had a lot of good fans and fans that wanted to see them.
and then Neil became a Christian,
Yes, yes.
born again Christian, and had to leave the band.
Oh man, it's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy because they had a hard time where they were typecast as a basically a
Symphonic group.
yeah, and I thought they had some pretty interesting songs. They even redid some people's songs that were I like their versions of them. But yeah, it's just that business it's hard to make it, and it's hard to think about where they were. They were like the #1 selling band for a couple of years, and then when the band broke up, they were all broke. That, to me,
Sports figures. There's a lot of sports figures that have happens to too.
yeah.
They live a lifestyle they can't afford.
And me, like I couldn't believe I could retire. I thought I was going to be working forever, and now I'm at a point in my life where I don't know if I could be broke. If I made that kind of money, I'm always my biggest fear in life is I'm going to be broke and living in a van again. So I'm always careful with my money. So it's just really weird to think about that you could make that kind of money and still be broke at the end of the rainbow. You know, I have people that invest my money, and I'd be socking that money away so that when I couldn't do it anymore, I could live off of it. So and Dee looks pretty good even today.
Yeah.
You know, all of them look pretty good. I love that show. Breaking the Band is a great show.
It is a good show.
So I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about with that? I mean, Zappa. Yeah, that was. Here it is. It says in 1985 or 1985. Yeah, their songs "Under the Blade" and "We're Not Going to Take It" were specifically mentioned in the Associated Senate hearings. Snyder, along with John Denver and Frank Zappa, testified before Senate hearings. I remember this whole thing as it was happening. And I'm thinking, wow, why would they be? I mean, other than "We're Not Going to Take It," but who cares about that? That doesn't mean anything per se. It's not like you're telling people to cut their wrists like some of the songs that I've seen. But why John Denver? You know, Frank Zappa makes sense because nobody really understands him. But do you know you're the one that you didn't. I was going to say you're the one that introduced me to Frank Zappa, but that's not true. But Frank Zappa was.
I listened to Frank.
I know, but but I remember his one album, "Don't Eat Yellow Snow."
Yes,
that was
one of my favorites.
That was one of the best albums I had ever heard because it was so different from everything else. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. But in '85, they released their fourth studio album, "Come Out and Play." It wasn't as successful. I think the album I liked was the one with "We're Not Going to Take It," and "I Want to Rock." That's just crazy. I can't even imagine making the kind of money that they made and being broke. But maybe if I was there, I'd be doing the same thing. It's a possibility. Says here he actually Snyder worked with Steve Whiteman, and Kix was big in Maryland. Was big in they actually back when this was all going on, the big bands around this area were Styx, Full Moon, the Sharks. Those were the three big bands, and the one that broke through the most was Kix, because they were on Atlantic Records. And it says here that Snyder recorded an album with Franco programming the drum machine and featuring several session musicians such as Rob Beach of guitar, on guitar, and Kip Winger before they formed Winger, and Steve Whiteman of Kix. I can't imagine what Whiteman did besides, because Whiteman's a singer. Atlantic Records refused to release it unless it was labeled Twisted Sister as a Twisted Sister album. I didn't know about that, but Love is for Suckers made its debut. Although the band had not played much for the recording sessions, it was mentioned on the album on the album cover as if the group had, and the band did play some songs. But Steve Whiteman, he's actually still playing. That Kicks band, gee, they've been around for, I'd say, since the '80s. Now I'm sure they've had member changes, and I would think that, I would imagine that Steve Whiteman's the only original member of that band. But it's funny to think of him with with Snyder. So yeah, they had a whole bunch of breakups too. Well, one member joined Blackfoot.
Yeah, see that.
I didn't know that. But yeah, my favorite album of theirs was called, it's right here, it's Big Hits and Nasty Cuts, which was a best of album. And it had some really good stuff on there. But I never, I could never find a band that I could do that with. And this band I have now, it probably will. We'll probably end up doing some of their stuff. But I think it'll be fun. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you got it all.
All right, the floor is yours. Talk about whatever you want.
$29,419. What do you think that buys?
$29,000.
$419.
I'd say a car.
It buys having a child.
What? Okay.
That's the cost of
Okay.
having a child.
Okay. Well, I believe that.
$297,674 is the estimated cost of raising a child to 18 years old in the United States.
Wow. Huh. Okay.
Because Trump is thinking about giving $5,000 to a woman to have a child.
Okay.
Because the fertility rate is 1.6 children, which does not sustain a population.
Okay.
You have to have 2.1 children per woman to sustain a population.
Well, I think we have too many people.
We may have too many people. The United States is shrinking.
Okay. I don't think that would be a bad thing for the United States to shrink a little bit.
Well, it is, because you need a work base to keep funding Social Security.
Hmm. Okay.
If it's too low, you're not going to have the sustaining power to fund all the people that have retired right now. The baby
Okay.
boomers. Half of us are in retirement. Over half of us are in retirement.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest population group we've ever had.
Huh.
And the birth rate right now is 1.6. That's unsustainable for Social Security.
Hmm. Okay.
So, how do you incentivize birth? Do you give people $5,000 per baby?
No.
Do
No.
you give tax credits for babies?
No. I see. Okay. Now, here's my thoughts on this. There are people that would jump all over this. There are people that's what they would do. They would become baby makers. I mean, this is going to sound really bad, but
Like Musk?
well, at least he could afford his babies. But I mean, think about all the people on welfare that abuse the system. They have 5 kids because they can get more money on welfare. I'm totally against that. I totally do not want that. Would
you give parents a tax credit? people in welfare don't pay taxes, so it isn't going to help them.
Yes. I mean, it should. I believe that they deserve something for the kids, but there's always people that are going to abuse that kind of thing. But boy, I don't even. Not being a parent of any sorts, I'm not really the best person to talk about parenting. So, um, I don't know. What do you do? What does China do?
They give it monetary incentives to not have children. Their population is overpopulated.
Yeah.
They were only allowing one child a family.
What do you think?
Well, being a parent, I would have liked to have a tax break the entire time I was raising the kid.
Would that have made you want to have more than you did?
No. We thought 2 was the right number.
So maybe have an incentive for the first 2 or whatever it is. I mean, there's some people that would abuse this so bad because you see these. I don't understand how a welfare person can buy an Escalade. You know, I don't understand.
Well, most don't. But see, my issue was women would come in with their hair done, their toes done, their nails done,
Right.
with an iPhone.
Yes.
Maybe not a 16, but they come in with an iPhone. And they'd ask us to pay their electric bill.
What do you do?
That's just ignorant.
I mean, I don't know what
Then you have people that have a calendar. And they know the day that they're eligible to come back into the Salvation Army for services.
See, those people are targeting and working
For
the system.
users and abusers.
They're working the system.
They're working the system. If they put as much effort into work as they do into working the system, they'd be successful, very successful.
Yeah, I have a problem with people who work the system because they're not working for themselves or they're not working, they're trying to abuse the system. See, that stuff is there for a reason. It's there to help people, not to fund people.
That's why Patty and I burned out.
Yeah, I
used to say 10 people come into my office. 7 were abusers.
Yeah.
3 would die if you didn't help them.
Yes, those people I believe you should help. I have a problem with the abuse of the stuff, and I don't have a problem helping someone that needs help. I feel that that's why it's there, but there are so many people that don't, like you said, out of the 10 people, 7 of them were abusing the system. It shouldn't be that way. It should be the other way around. There should be 7 people that need it and maybe 3 people that abuse the system. But the problem is the abuses are much farther than the people that need it.
Well, at Christmas time, people would come in with 6, 7, 8 kids in their family.
Yeah.
We knew they didn't have 6, 7, 8 kids in their family. But there was nothing we could do about it because we wanted the kids to have Christmas.
Right, yeah.
Well, we knew they only had 3 or 4 kids. They borrowed 3 or 4 kids.
And those are the people that abuse the system. It's just, there are a lot of people like that, though. I don't know.
They're entitled.
Yeah. There's too many people that are entitled.
And then the people you say no to call you racist.
Yes.
So that's why we burned out. We got tired of that.
Yeah.
But, you know, A mom sitting there with her hair done, her nails done, her toes done with an iPhone, and you look at the kids, and if you don't give them food, the kids are going to starve, even though the moms are using and abusing. You
Yeah.
give them food anyhow because of the kids.
Right.
It's not their fault.
Right.
So, and that took a toll. 35 years of doing that took a toll.
Yeah. See, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that job. It would be too difficult for me to be able to say no. You know, when you know that,
When I
again,
was in treatment,
go ahead.
when I was in treatment, my psychiatrist wanted me to become a truck driver.
Why a truck driver?
As I said, that in the back of my mind, that's what I would always do if I lost my job, is I'd be a truck driver. Because I like to drive, right?
Yeah.
And he says, well, why don't you do that? I don't want you going back to social service work. It's too stressful. So, you know, other people saw what it was doing to me a long time before I saw it. Because it's hard. It's hard work being a social worker. You see the worst of society.
Yeah.
You see it at its worst. So I worked in a prison and saw its worst, and I worked in social services and saw its worst.
No, I don't know how you could do that. That's areas that
Well, I was called by God to do it. It's a calling.
yeah.
You can't do it unless it's a calling.
No. I
Only
believe that.
certain people are equipped to do it.
Yeah.
So 44% of the country thinks that 2 kids is the right number. 29% feel that 3 are the right number. And 2% feel that 0 is the right number. You are part of the 2%.
Because if there wasn't so much abuse, I would probably not feel that way. Problem is that too many people are getting it that shouldn't get it. But how do you weed those people out without being called a racist or without being called prejudice or whatever it is that, you know, how do you get to that point? Now, maybe if I was a minority, I would not believe that, but maybe I would, because it's still the same thing, just different side of the. I don't know. I see. That's why I stayed away from those fields, because I don't want to be called a racist for doing my job. I don't want, but I think that the one thing I do believe is that there is a lot of waste in our government. I believe that this administration is trying to alleviate that, and a lot of people don't understand that. And they're used to us doing certain things. Even if they're not right, they're used to it. And the justification is, well, we've always done it that way. Not, let's fix the program. I would love it to be, I wish everybody was honest and we didn't have to worry about that kind of thing. But that's not the case. So how do you do it? How do you make it happen? You know,
We had transitional housing programs where we would teach people how to pay bills, how to stay out of jail, how to raise their kids, how to find a good man. We teach.
that would be
We
good.
had the program for 6 months. The government under Obama killed that program.
Why?
They did rapid rehousing, which is you just take a person off the street and stick them in a house without training them. You got to deprogram somebody and then train them
Okay.
because they think stupid. If you hang out with people that are as stupid as you, you're going to remain as dumb as they are.
That's true. That is true. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That's right. And so it's difficult, but transitional housing is the only way to go. But but Obama killed that. Now, other people brought it back, but Obama killed it.
Hmm.
It's called rapid rehousing. You put a street person in a house, they're going to destroy the house because they don't know how to live. Now, that's not true of everybody. Some people were in houses, were responsible people, got downsized, ended up on the street.
Right.
And if you give them a house, they'll make it again.
Yes.
But that's not everybody.
Well, I just don't know what. I mean, that's a big, big topic that you could spend days debating how to make it work. And I just wish that there was a solution that there would be a lot of people that would, you could figure out the right way to do it. There is no right way to do it because somebody's going to be unhappy regardless of what you do.
One size doesn't fit all.
That's
we
correct.
need a lot of approaches.
Yeah.
Because people are different. Their needs are different.
Yes. And some things will look on the surface like they're cheating when they aren't cheating, and some things will look like it's legit when it isn't. So there's always someone out there. Everyone wants to take the easy way out. That'd be great. But what's the answer? I don't know. I wish I knew the answer. But it's.
So we're not going to fix it tonight.
No. We'll have to wait till next week probably to fix it.
That's right.
I think that.
So let me end with this.
Go ahead.
Is Christine in the chat room?
I think she might be.
Tell her to get out. Is your sister in the chat room?
Yes.
Tell her to get out. Okay, why do women make better astronauts?
I don't know that they do, but
Okay. Well, they look really cute in their space outfits.
Considering that the outfits are pretty generic, I don't know that they do or not, but they.
Space is a vacuum, and you know how women love vacuums.
Let me put it this way. They went to space for 3 minutes and became astronauts.
That's right. They're not astronauts.
And if that is the case, I'm a gynecologist, a specialist. So Christine and I joke about that a lot because the joke is that I'm a gynecologist, but I said no, I'm not a gynecologist. I'm a specialist.
If you time the mission just right, they'll be very cooperative and in good moods.
This is true.
They need a lot less oxygen because their brains are small.
Oh boy, you are looking for trouble. Oh, yep, she says she is in the chat room. I want you to know that Doug is saying this. I'm not saying any of this.
They have plenty of experience with IGs from the spin classes at the gym.
Oh.
In space, no one can hear you when you're passively aggressive saying, "It's fine, don't worry about it."
I want you to know.
On board,
I just want you to know, Christine, that I'm laughing out of being courteous to him.
If the onboard AI goes rogue, they can manipulate and guilt trip it back into submission.
Well, that actually would be a good thing.
The shuttle capsule will smell like lavender and stuff like that.
I would think that that would normally smell pretty bad, so that's not a bad thing.
If the hull of the ship springs a leak, they can fill the hole with their stiletto from their IED. honestly, this is for Christine. Women are never wrong, so the mission is a guaranteed success.
There you go. That's a good thing. That is true. I mean, I think. Oh, the trash talking men's.
Men's club.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, man. I probably waited too long to take the floor back. I don't know if I want to be on that floor. It's not very stable right now. But this is an interest. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. This is an interesting thing I learned just before we came on the air. So I don't know if you know this or not. There's an Amazon breakup. Apparently, there is a thing going on where they're talking about cutting jobs and stuff like that. They're moving. They're changing. They're being called a monopoly. So I don't know if you've heard that or not.
Yes.
So apparently it says UPS to cut. UPS to cut 20,000 jobs after Amazon breakup. That's a lot of jobs.
That's a lot of jobs.
I saw this in an article right before this started, and I didn't have a chance to do much research on it. But that's really I know there's an issue with companies being too big. So right now they're going after Zuckerberg for being a monopoly. They're going after they haven't gone after Tesla yet, but that's probably coming. I'm surprised they're probably going to do something with Tesla because of the AI company and X combining.
Yes.
But they're little by little they're going after some pretty big hitters, and but like the Zuckerberg thing I think is ridiculous because he bought Instagram, he has Threads, and he has this and that, and he owns Facebook, and Llama's now his too. I mean, I believe that monopolies are an issue, but I can't. I think that they're on a witch hunt.
I would never side with Zuckerberg in most things. But who's to say he wouldn't have created those programs and platforms to himself?
And who
He
cares?
bought them. But who's to say he wouldn't have bought them, wouldn't have made them himself and driven everybody else out of business?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, they can go after Tesla for being a monopoly too. Then, I think
Because they outsell everybody.
well because they were the innovators too. They started. I mean, there were electric cars back in the '60s, but they were not electric cars like we got now. They were cars that got 20 miles, and then you had to recharge them for 8 hours. They weren't innovators. Nobody innovated. If you create a product, let's say you created I don't know, the wireless technology or something. Say you created that, and no one else can compete with you then. For how long? How long is a trademark good for? How long is a copy? Not a copyright, but a patent. A patent is forever, I think, but trademark is like only
7 years.
Yeah. So does that mean that for 7 years nobody else can have an electric car? That's the whole thing. Is that they're going to end up going after Tesla because they're the only game in town as far as I'm concerned, because everybody else does not get the same kind of quality car. There's not been Rivian is closest to what they're the only other company making money with electric cars, and they only made $500,000 for their car. Everybody's going in debt to build these cars, but Tesla is making a profit. but they didn't make a profit till 2018. And they only made small profits then, and then profits they made were for tax credits that they had that they were selling to other people so that they could keep the company going. But now they're making billions of dollars, and they're the only one making billions of dollars. Does that make so? Is somebody going to go after them and say, "Hey, you're the only guy in town. You should break up that company"? Where does the innovation become more important than someone crying because they can't do it as well as they can? Somebody can't do it as well as they can. The thing is, where does the line get drawn? Zuckerberg, yes, he bought. I mean, if you want to get technical, Tesla bought Solar City. Solar City, they bought that back in 2016, 17, something like that. Are you going to say because they want to put solar panels on their roof or whatever that's they're the only ones that does it, or are you going to say they have a monopoly because they're the only ones that do it? The thing is, they're calculated investments that they made. I just don't know where the line should be drawn, but I think that it should be drawn. Amazon truly is a monopoly. They're the only marketplace that has been successfully doing business. I was in on that. I had.
They think they're third party.
Right. Well, I was one of the people that sold to the third party guys, and the thing is, if you wanted to get technical, the problem with Amazon is that if you're going to sell on the Amazon marketplace, you have to follow the rules, and the rules are you can't be cheaper than Amazon selling the same product. You can not be cheaper than Amazon selling the product. So if Amazon wants to sell a computer and you want to sell that same computer, you have to be more money than Amazon. And you not only have to be more money than Amazon, but you also get a piece. You also have to pay them a piece of your profit to sell that product. Now that technically sounds kind of illegal. If you are forcing everyone else to be higher than you, that would be price fixing.
Yes.
That is how they do it. When I was working
Against the free market.
Yeah, when I was working and I was selling products to Amazon resellers, they told me they had to pay Amazon between, depending on the product, 14 to 20% of their profit. So it didn't really pay to sell on Amazon, but the reason they sold on Amazon is they got, not only did they sell on Amazon, but they also got their name out there. But it really, if you want to talk about price fixing, Amazon made sure that they were able to fix it so you couldn't sell the same product at a cheaper price, or else you couldn't sell on their platform. So I mean, if you're talking about monopolies, I guess Amazon truly is a monopoly, because even though you can all sell the same products, you've got to sell by their rules. So I don't know. I do have a little issue with that, but it is what it is. All right, Vancouver festival attack. Did you hear about that?
No.
An assailant rammed a car into a Filipino heritage festival in Vancouver Saturday, killing at least 11 people, wounding dozens more. The detained suspect, a 30-year-old man, was known to police to have a history of mental health incidents. Authorities say that the attack was a lone incident and ruled out terrorism as a motive. I believe it was terrorism, actually, because this is 100,000 people attended Lapu Lapu Day in a festival in Canada. It was a gathering of 100,000 people, and this guy ran his car into a crowd. That sounds like it would be considered terrorism to me. The attack took place at 8:14 p.m. local time when a black SUV plowed into crowds of festival goers. Crowd members captured the suspect later and handed him over to the police. At least they caught him and held him for the police. But it's just really sad that kind of thing even has to happen. You know, it's just that kind of thing shouldn't happen. But yeah, it just sucks. I don't know. I can't understand hating a person based on their culture or their skin color or their religion or whatever it is that you hate that particular person on. So I saw that and I was very unhappy that happened. Let's see here. There are 5 most haunted places in Pennsylvania. Do you know what any of them are?
Say again, Mike, I'm sorry.
5 of the most haunted places in Pennsylvania. Do you know what they are?
No.
You probably know some of them. Gettysburg would be one. Actually, I've been to one of them that's really cool. Let's see here. Let me bring that up here. Gettysburg Battlefield is one. People say they go to that battlefield and they see dead people. I've had people tell me that they actually see these dead people walking. They see ghosts and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of that. It says here, visitors reported phantom gunshots, marching soldiers, barefoot Canadian soldier in tattered clothing pointing towards Plum Run saying, what you're looking for is over there. That to me kind of freaks me out. I think I don't know. The one I went to is the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia. That is cool.
That I know of.
Did you ever go to it?
No.
It's
Heard all about it.
it is really it's a big place, and parts of it are falling down. I went to it during Halloween one year, and it was really cool. But the thing that's cool about that is, at the end, you walk by this one place and they stop you and say, that's where Al Capone was. And they show what his cell looked like. And that's pretty cool. But anyway, it's really an interesting place. And I was glad I went to that. Visitors hear disembodied voices cackling in cell block 12. They see shadowy figures in cell block 4. Some reported the outline of a guard in a tower or feel cold spots in the corridors. The penitentiary, now historic landmark, offers daytime tours and nighttime tours during Halloween, and the isolation makes it a magnet for ghost hunters. Then there's Penhurst Asylum in Spring City. It was meant to house the mentally and physically disabled, but it became infamous for abuse and neglect. Overcrowded and understaffed, it closed in 1987 after lawsuits exposed horrific conditions. Now abandoned, its decaying buildings are a paranormal epicenter. Do you believe in things like that? Do you believe that there are ghosts walking?
I believe there are demons, but I don't believe in ghosts too.
Okay. I can relate to that. I don't know what I believe. I don't know, because why is it that everybody doesn't see them? That's my question. Then
You
there's,
see them because you want to see them.
yeah, I think the mind is strong enough to believe that there are people there because you are told that there are people there. I don't know. Farnsworth House in Gettysburg. That's another one in Gettysburg. Old Jail Museum in Jim Thorpe. And then it says, dare to explore America's haunted heart. These 5 locations, the ones we talked about, are supposedly really big paranormal places. So, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that in these things, but I have friends that truly believe that that they really happen. Russian general killed by a car bomb outside Moscow. A senior Russian military leader, Lieutenant General Yaroslav Moskalik, was killed by a car bomb containing a homemade explosive device while in a Moscow suburban Friday. The explosion occurred as he approached a parked vehicle, and you can see something. Let's see what we can see here. Yeah, that car is doesn't look good. Jeez. That's crazy. So that's somebody wanted him gone. There's a one here. There it is. There's a court ruling that opens the door to FDA action against Ozempic copycats. Ozempic, federal judge in Texas sided with Novo Nordisk in upholding FDA restrictions that now bar pharmacies from making or distributing compounded versions of the weight loss drugs Wegovy and Ozempic, after the FDA determined the active ingredients semaglutide is no longer in shortage in the U.S. compound versions. Are custom-made drugs prepared by the pharmacist when approved. Medications are unavailable and unsuitable but lack FDA approval. So, I mean, I know a lot of people that have lost weight with that Wegovy thing.
I lost about 20 pounds on Ozempic.
I know some people that have lost like 80 pounds. Man, it's crazy. Do you ever want to buy a 330-foot large cargo ship?
No.
Me neither, but there are people that do. This is really wild. This apparently there are people that will sell you just about anything. He bought a massive shipwreck, and he only paid in the U.S. it was $400. He browsed Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and you can find just about anything on Facebook Marketplace. You can buy vintage lamps, used socks, a car engulfed in flames. Dom Robinson found a 3,300-ton, 330-foot-long cargo ship that sank off of the Cornish coast during World War I, and it was only $400. Robinson purchased the wreck of the SS Almond Branch from someone who bought the wreckage from the British government in the 70s. He told BBC Radio that the original owner hoped to uncover something of value, but found it just to be a big piece of rusting iron. I would think that you could get your $400 back if you sell the iron. That's crazy stuff, man. I don't get it.
People doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
So put it up for sale on Facebook. 300 pounds later, and a few messages, I became the proud owner of a 3,000-ton shipwreck, located in 58 metres of water off the Cornish coast. Having bought it, there was only one thing to do, and that was to go and dive it.
You're gonna die. My wreck, yeah.
Considering it was January, conditions were absolutely fantastic. This is us on board in deep diving Seeker, and that's my long-term buddy, and the guy who produces the wonderful photographs, Rick Ayrton, who's in front of me. As we often do, this is our crew. She's there, keeping us all on the safe and narrow, making sure we're all good to go. This bit of the dive is a bit challenging. Got to get up with all that gear on, those ropes overhead, make it really easy. It also means that even in rough seas, you've got something to hold on to, something that's going to keep you upright. As we often are,
Insane stuff, man. You can really buy just about anything on Marketplace, though. I found some really strange things on there. But, you know, there's something for everybody, I guess. Let's see here. Oh, this one's sad. 12-year-old girl hospitalized weighing 50 pounds after her mother and grandmother kept her tied to the bed every night, fed her pet food, and intentionally over-medicated the girl. What is going on with these people? Why would you... I just don't get it.
And why do they always look like that?
Yeah, well, she looks surprised. What? Me? What did I do? I don't get it. If you don't want a kid, there are people that'll, adopt that kid and give them a good life. I don't get it. I can't understand why there are people like this. And and it was in Pennsylvania, of course. It says here, Pennsylvania, in a distressing case, it says, has shocked the community. 35-year-old mother identified as Gregorio, A. Gregorio, and 52-year-old grandmother identified as S. Lauder were arrested for a prolonged and severe abuse of a 12-year-old girl. I mean, when you have a 12-year-old girl and she's weighing 50 pounds, there's signs that something's wrong. It said that they were arrested. They kept the 12-year-old girl tied to the bed every night while she slept. They fed her pet food and intentionally over-medicated the girl before she was hospitalized. The accused are facing multiple charges, including aggravated assault of a victim under 12, conspiracy, unlawful restraint, false imprisonment, endangering the welfare of children, recklessly endangering another person, simple assault, and tampering with evidence. The details emerged when the victim, suffering from seizure-like symptoms, was admitted to the hospital. During the treatment, the medical staff noticed marks on her body that were signs of abuse. While in the hospital, the girl's mother admitted that she had given her daughter over-the-counter medicine, including Benadryl and melatonin, and before the symptoms started. An investigation quickly unraveled and revealing a pattern of severe treatment inflicted on the girl by her own family members. According to the police reports, the girl often restrained in the bed at extended period of times, for sometimes up to 12 hours, during which she was forced to relieve herself where she lay. The restraints not only caused her physical but deep emotional trauma. The girl told authorities that being restrained made her mad and hurt. And adding to the horrors, it was disclosed that the young girl was compelled to eat pet food, a degrading act that her mother admitted during a phone conversation with a witness. She reportedly told another witness that she did not like restraining her daughter, but claimed that her mother was making her do it. Authorities revealed that the two had installed a surveillance camera in the bedroom to monitor her and ensure that she did not escape the restraints. The child's suffering was further evidenced by a severely malnourished condition. The prosecutor said that the girl weighed only 50 pounds at the time of the admission to the hospital. putting her in the 1 percentile of her age group. I just can't understand that.
It's sick.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want the girl, I'm sure there's lots of people that would be glad to take that, but just really bad. Volkswagen and Uber plan to roll out robo-taxi service, but unlike the company's, using the company's electric microbuses, Los Angeles could be the first market starting in 2026. So, I love the look of the microbuses, because they took the old microbus and updated it to electric car. And if it got better mileage, I'd be interested in buying one, but it doesn't get, I think it has around 250 is the range of it. But they're pretty cool, though. They're looking at late 2026, and it says VW and Uber didn't provide details on the future markets, but that could be good. I mean, everyone wants to be comfortable when they're driving, and those microbuses would be much more comfortable than the little cars. I'm curious, with all these companies that are out there that want to get involved in this self-driving thing, how well they're going to do and what technology they're going to use. Because right now we only have Tesla, who's only launching now, and we have Waymo, who has been doing it for a little while. It's going to be interesting to see how this holds up. See if it turns out. I mean, it will be a viable thing. In 10 years, it's going to be second nature. So could be interesting. Just trying to see if there's anything else I want to make sure I cover this week. There was a shooting in Florida State. I don't know if you saw Florida State. I think this was 2 weeks ago. 2 people were killed, 6 others wounded at Florida State University in the Tallahassee campus. Student identified as the sheriff's deputy opened fire near the student union. Two people killed in the attack were not students. The officials identified the suspect as 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, a member of the sheriff's office youth advisory council, whose mother is Leon County's sheriff deputy. He was apprehended after being shot by law enforcement and hospitalized with non-threatening injuries. And he was carrying a shotgun and a handgun. The latter was purchased by his mother for personal use, and the shooting of the second to occur at FSU since 2014. Oh, man. Wish these people would stop shooting up schools. I mean, they should stop shooting up everywhere, but that scares me. I have a friend who, the high school that got shot up a couple of years ago, their children were at that school. I can't even imagine
what they went through.
Yeah, and they still probably go through it, because it doesn't go away. It's just, I don't know. I just don't understand killing people like that, But that's because I consider myself somewhat above that. I don't know. All right. Yeah, I guess it's a good place to stop. Can't get rid of this. I'm trying to get rid of this stupid article. It won't go away. This article's driving me crazy because I can't close it. It won't let me Won't let me delete it either. What is up with that? Anyway, all right. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm good. It's 10:19. I think we should close.
Yeah, I figured we did the makeup of the time, and
Yeah.
we'll conclude with this. I'd like to conclude with something good though. Oh, here we go. I got an article we can conclude with that's really good. Here we go. This is the last article. Healing through horses. What is it? Okay. Wineville couple advances veteran housing and therapy program. Kathleen Saucier and David Flounders hope to soon complete a set of houses for veterans who use resources offered by Sampson's Strength Sustainable Veterans Project. However, storms in the fall and spring required volunteers who are willing to complete the walls to head further north. The couple founded the SSSVP, a 501c3 nonprofit that pairs veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder with animals to help them and help people who have emotional and physical difficulties, called Equine Assisted or Equine, or is it Equine?
Equine.
Is it? Okay. Powered therapy. The couple has turned their rural property into a farm that is healing space. Currently, 5 horses and 5 donkeys roam freely on the farm as they eat grass and sometimes swim in the small pond. They're thriving despite the majority of them having endured previous stressful circumstances, and they've provided an ideal place for animals, and the project will have an ideal place for visiting veterans when the houses are ready. They only need help from drywallers, thanks to volunteers from a variety of corporate sponsors, nonprofit groups, and individuals who've worked throughout the years to build 5 houses in a small building that will house a kitchen. Each house has 2 beds that will create space for 10 veterans. You know, there's people like that in this world that make you smile, you know?
Yeah.
They're not doing things to better themselves, they're doing things to better other people. And I think that would be cool. It'd be cool if a lot more people would do things like that. So, all right, on that one, I guess time to call it a night. Let's see, I gotta figure out which tab it is. Is it this one? No. Which one is it? Where's the, that's, okay, delete that one. Gotta find out which the tab is that I started with. Over here, I think. All right, there we go. Hopefully. Come on. Don't be so slow. Here we go.